start with the closing remarks. Thank you so much. Can I request everyone to settle down, please? Before we begin, we would like to recognize the presence of our dignitaries over here. We've got two important dignitaries to be addressed. Dr. W. Silvamurthy, who is the President ASITF and also is Director General Amity Directorate of Science and Innovation. So we welcome you. Can we have a round of applause for him? And I would also like to again welcome Lieutenant General Bhandare. Can we have a round of applause for Sir as well? He's been present throughout. Yeah. Now. Yeah, we are welcoming you again, sir. And now I would like to just start with the closing plenary. Future of humanity in space. Explore the future of India's space missions, including Gaganyaan, lunar and Venus missions, and the Bharatiya Antariksha Station. Join leading experts and foreign agencies to discuss government, industry, and startup roles in space exploration, focusing on interplanetary missions, advanced space transportation, and international collaboration. Amazing session to be ending it with, and I would like to call on stage Mr. Chair, which is Shri M. Mohan, Director, Human Space Flight Center. So can we have you on the stage in the dais to join for the session? And I would also request Professor Teodoro Valente, President Italian Space Agency, to start with the keynote address. And apart from that, we have the panelists, Mr. Garvey Mclntosh, Senior Director, International Government Business, Axiom Space, Mr. Guillermo, Co-founder, Human to Venus, Mr. Jatan Mehta, Space Journalist, Mr. Ratan Srivastava, Bauer Group Asia, and Dr. A.K. Anil Kumar, President ASI. Can we have everyone on board, and also a round of applause to whoever is joining us in? And I would like to give the dais and the keynote to our Professor Teodoro Valente. Please.
Thank you very much. And so, good afternoon, distinguished guests and colleagues. First, thank you for attending this closing event, and thanks to the organizer for giving me the opportunity to talk also in this closing section under one of the most important titles, that is Future of Humanity in Space. Italy closely follows India's ambitious space exploration programs with great interest. The mission as Gaganyaan, lunar and Venus exploration, and the future of Bharatiya Station. The Indian Space Research Organization, ISRO, has been making remarkable strides in these areas, paralleling Italy's own dedication to advancing space technology and exploration. If we have a look to the Italian National Exploration Plan, it is structured around three main objectives. The first is to sustain the European Space Agency exploration program, then fostering international relationship in bilateral and multilateral way, last but not least, advancing national activities to boost technology, innovation, and scientific knowledge. And the Italian Space Agency focuses on various exploration destinations, including Moon, Mars, near-Earth asteroid, with Mars being a long-term human mission goal. And both the Italian Space Agency and ISRO have made significant contribution to space exploration. ISRO Gaganyaan mission aims to send Indian astronauts into space, which is a milestone in Indian human spaceflight capabilities. And complementing this, Italy boasts a robust reputation in developing habitation modules for low Earth orbit, with more than half of the actual International Space Station, which has been fabricated near Turin, which is the European hub for space habitats. And actually, always near Turin, we give logistic support to the International Space Station. Then Italian industry also contributes to upcoming commercial space stations, such as the Axiom one. And Axiom here is represented by Mr. Garvey Mclntosh, one of the speakers in this concluding session. Exploration activities and exploration objectives across both nations include enhancing knowledge, developing technologies, and establishing sustainable infrastructures, that is habitation, power generation, communication, and life support. Then also prospecting space resource for future extraction and utilization, and conducting operation and problem solving in lunar environments to prepare for human missions to Mars. Both Italy and India play pivotal roles in international space programs. Italy as a major contributor to ESA exploration program is significantly involved in the Lunar Gateway and the European Service Module for the Orion Multipurpose Crew Vehicle. The Lunar Gateway, which is central to NASA Artemis program, will be the first international space station around the moon, supporting new human space missions. And ESA contributions to the Lunar Gateway include significant Italian involvement. Italy leads in developing the Lunar International Habitat, IHAB, the Lunar View, and the Lunar Link, providing astronauts with panoramic views and advanced communication capabilities. In addition, Italy contributes to the European Service Module, which is crucial for sending astronauts beyond the moon. Italy also will lead the lunar communication infrastructure within the ESA Moonlight initiative. Let me add some other general consideration, and the reason of which will be clear in a few minutes. ISRO Chandrayaan missions have also been exemplary in exploring the moon. Chandrayaan-2 orbiter continues to provide valuable data, and the Chandrayaan-3 mission aims to develop a lander and a rover to further investigate the lunar surface. Then, if we move to Venus, in Venus exploration, ISRO mission aims to study the planet's atmosphere, surface, and geological feature, thus enhancing our understanding of this planet. In robotic lunar exploration, on the other side, the Italian industry has been recently, and recently means 2 hours ago, selected by ESA to produce Argonaut, which is the lunar descent element, European one, enabling autonomous European missions to the moon surface. Italy also leads the drilling system in the ESA Prospect mission, aimed at extracting lunar samples from the moon's South Pole region. At national level, my country pursues various moon exploration initiatives, emphasizing again in situ resource utilization and the Earth-Moon-Mars science platform, which has been supported in Italy by our Ministry of University and Research in order to expand human presence in deep space. And significant investment in ground infrastructure in Turin support also these operations. ISRO is also working towards establishing the Bharatiya Station, a space station that will serve as a platform for various scientific experiments and long-term human space missions. And both ASI and ISRO have established a broad network of bilateral agreements fostering strong collaboration among us. Italy's involvement in the Artemis initiative since October 2020, culminating in a June 22 agreement between NASA and my agency to design a versatile, multi-purpose aviation module for the lunar surface, leveraging Italy's expertise in pressurized modules, developed for the ISS, the International Space Station, and the Lunar Gateway. Additionally, the Italian Space Agency NASA LUGRE initiative, that stands for Lunar GNSS Receiver Experiment, will deploy an Italian GNSS receiver on Firefly Blue Ghost lander in 2024. Italy also leads ESA Mars exploration efforts, exemplified by the ESA ExoMars mission, aimed at drilling Martian terrain to search for signs of life. Moreover, Italy contributes to NASA Mars Sample Return mission. And in this context, ISRO Mars Orbiter missions has set a precedent, and an ongoing collaboration could contribute to synergize these efforts for more comprehensive exploration of Mars. So, we have many points of contacts between our two industrial and scientific communities, many reasons to collaborate and to foster bilateral activities, as I said in the previous session, and industrial collaboration. The Italian Space Agency will host a trade missions in early 2025 here in India, in collaboration with ISRO, with InSpace, with the Italian Embassy in New Delhi, and with the Italian Trade Agency, thus promoting interactions between Italian companies and the Indian industrial ecosystem. In closing, on my side, it has been a privilege to participate to this India Space Congress in New Delhi, celebrating the collaborative spirit driving our space sector growth in exploration and technology. And we urgently anticipate ongoing collaboration with ISRO and InSpace, looking forward to hosting many of you in Italy for the upcoming International Astronautic Congress in Milan this October, from 14 to 18 October, for which we are really grateful to ISRO and to all the Indian community of space for their interest and participation in this global event, for which at least we expect 10,000 people attending the conference, putting together researchers, managers, policy decision makers, agencies, space leaders, and the young generation, which is the most important thing. So thank you, and it's really my pleasure to reaffirm again the Italian Space Agency commitment to strengthen collaboration as for the decision by our two prime ministers in last March 2023 to elevate bilateral relationship to a strategic partnership. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your long speech. Now we would like to have Mr. Mohan to come over here and request us with a few words so that we can carry on with the session, sir.
Good evening to all. The last day of, last session of the 3-day conference, of course, has its own impact. I'm still happy that we have quite a number of delegates still here, along with the seniors. Thank you very much. Let me thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity to be here and represent Indian Space Research Organization and also my own center, the Human Space Flight Center, which is the leading center for the Gaganyaan program of ISRO, the Human Space program of ISRO. And I will briefly give a presentation on what we are going to do and what is in future for us, the long-term vision, which will be converted into a mission very soon, so that we can have very good clarity by the end of 2047 what we are going to be there at the end of 2047 what India will be in the space faring nations and where our positions will be. So with your permission, I would like to go ahead with my presentation. Yes. Okay, this gives an overall view of the various launch vehicles of SPACE, as well as the spacecrafts, Earth observation, communication, and various constellations, as well as the launch vehicles of ISRO from SLV, which is around 40 kg payload, to LVM3, which is around 4,004 ton of payload, and SSLV is a launch and on-demand space launch vehicle. It's a small satellite launch vehicle where around 500 kg spacecraft payload is capable to 5 km orbit. And this is already 2 missions we have completed, and the other mission is going to happen in another possibly very soon. And these are the various other missions which has been taking place. Especially you can see 432 foreign satellites and 6 re-entry missions, and also we have 17 satellites by private players and students that also we have been encouraging, and we also have other missions from other countries that also is a quite large number. And coming to the dawn of the Indian space program, of course we started with long back in 2007 with the 500 kg spacecraft recovery capsule, which was completed the mission in 2007. Then it was followed by a crew module atmospheric re-entry mission of something like 4 ton, less than 4 ton class, which was of course a suborbital mission. And then we have also demonstrated the crew escape system, one of the most important critical systems for the human mission. That also was demonstrated in 2018. But subsequently, when we have really embarked on the human space program in 2018, when the Prime Minister announced the launch of the Gaganyaan program, and on that basis, the center has been formed and the program has been initiated. And the launch vehicle Mark III, which is what we call as GSLV-M3, which was used for the Chandrayaan 3 mission as well as the OneWeb missions, which was two sequential successful missions of OneWeb was launched by the same launch vehicle. And where we have the orbital module, where the crew module and the service module will be integrated, kept together as an orbital payload. The crew module will occupy around 2 astronauts, about 2 astronauts, possibly 3 later. And the service module will be the spacecraft supporting the system till it re-enters the orbit. And the crew escape system is the abort system which will be there during the first stage of our launch vehicle of the solid boosters, and subsequently it will be jettisoned, and it will be the remaining part of the abort activity will be taken care of by the service module itself. This is an overall mission profile which I won't want to delve too much into it. The actual mission is same as any launch vehicle mission, where the initial booster stage starts and the guided on by the L1 ton stage, which is a core stage, and followed by the cryogenic 32 ton stage. Then subsequently it is in the orbit of around 170 by 400. It is circularized to 400 kilometers orbit, and the total payload mass is around 8 tons, including the service module and the overall orbital module. Then later on, once it completes its mission, initially we think about possibly 1 day, then it can go up to 3 days mainly due to the constraints in space and the resources. And later on it will be reorbited, coming back from the 400 kilometers to 170 kilometers, where it will have the separation of the service module. Then it comes back through the atmosphere, decelerates, and then at around 7 kilometers onwards the parachute operation starts. And we have three phases of parachute operation. Then finally it impacts in the near Indian coast on either the west or the east, close to maybe around 250 kilometers from the coast, and at an impact velocity of around 8.5 meters per second. This is the mission overall. And it doesn't go directly to the mission straight away as being done elsewhere. We also have to demonstrate many precursor missions and especially validation missions of various systems. So first one is the test vehicle where we demonstrate the crew escape system. Then again we have to demonstrate the various conditions of the parachute systems by the integrated drop test. Then the pad abort test. In case of an anomaly at launch pad, the crew has to be taken immediately away. So that is a pad abort test will be done. Then we have the uncrewed mission, 2 numbers of uncrewed mission. Then we go for the actual human mission, which we call as H1. And this sequentially we are in the phase of first 2 activities are already on. First mission we have already completed. This is the first mission which we completed on the Gaganyaan crew escape system demonstration, which we call as test vehicle D1 on 21st October 2023. And it was all the parachute systems were went up to around 17 kilometers and separated. And then later on the crew module was brought down by the sequential parachute functioning and impacting precisely at around 10 kilometers from the coast and recovered and brought to the ship and the coast. And this structure, in fact, we are reusing for one of the next tests. It's an aluminium structure, but it is perfectly intact. And we have gone through the entire refurbishment and inspection and clearances. And the structure is being reused. So that is one of the benefits of the recovery, which we have been discussing earlier in one of the sessions. This is one of the recovery options which we have in mind. And we have the follow-on mission proposed, and we will have a second crew mission which is called H2. And we also will have the larger size of the crew module. Presently it is 3.1 meters diameter at the base. That will go to 3.5 meters where we can have more crew. And we also will have this as the cargo mission to the ISS. And later on we are going to have, and of course this will have also demonstration of the docking with the ISS as well as re-entry and recovery of the crew module. Then later on we are getting into the Bharatiya Antariksha Space Station using the LVM-3 vehicle, which again we have designed, conceptualized as a 3.8 meter diameter and 8 meter long. It is around 9 ton mass, and all this conceptual design is now in progress. And later on we will be having another mission of the G5, which will be docking with the BAS, and this will be one of the again cargo transfer mission before we get into the human mission with this configuration, which will be our final configuration for the repeated missions of the crew module for the space station development. And the roadmap towards that is that we are in the 2025, we are going to have the full capability of demonstrating the human space program, a full human mission by 25-26. Follow-on missions will take care of the further missions requirements, including the first module of the Bharatiya Antariksha Space Station by 2028. Then the phase 3 will be the operationalization of the VAS we have concentrated as a 5-module space station, not as large as the ISS today. Then subsequently, the full-fledged BAS will be commissioned by 2035. Then we have the ambition of going to the moon landing by the human moon landing by 2040. So this is the roadmap in the overall sense, what we have in front of us. And we have a lot of technology to be developed along with partner industries, partner institute, academia, foreign agencies, and all these are the docking facilities, the rover designs, and the recovery systems, as well as the reuse systems with respect to recovering the whole stage itself, like what SpaceX is doing. And also we have the astronaut facility. We have a small facility that has to be maybe enhanced to the full-fledged facility, including the buoyancy system testing, as well as the centrifuge systems kind of things. And also we have the AI-enabled robotic sample return mission. This also is in the vision of 2040-2047. This we need to have manned mission technology developments along with collaboration with the NGEs as well as with academia and R&D, including the foreign agencies who have already the technology and experience of working in the ISS modules. Of course, the space policy, I don't have to reiterate this. This has already been probably mentioned in the earlier last 2 days. the sector has been open to the private sector, and more and more engagement with the R&D private sector, as well as we have the NSIL, New Space India Limited, which will be the commercial arm of the ISRO, which already is doing business in both launch vehicle and spacecraft and data segment. And the Indian National Space Promotion and Authorization Center in space is also doing human service in providing the facilities, the support, both in the technology as well as the infrastructure, and enabling especially the startups to come up to the level like today we heard about Agnikul and Skyroad. A lot of support has been provided both in terms of technology as well as with respect to the interactions as well as infrastructure, including launch and engine testing. We will continue to do that because there is a bright sign seen in the horizon for the private sector to come into the launch activity and make their own launch vehicle. So this will be continued, and there is a major decision towards self-sufficiency with respect to the Atmanirbhar Bharat also. And of course, I don't want to dwell into this. This is the policies which we had earlier. I would only come to the last line. Now we have the future is the entire launch vehicle will be delivered by the industry. Already the various phases I am not dwelling because this is something 80s we started in 90s, 2000 and 2017 we have started outsourcing the entire as a full stage, including the liquid propulsion stage. We have outsourced to the industry to make the entire stage. Now the next phase is to make the full launch vehicle. We have already outsourced the PSLV, the Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle has been outsourced to the industry consortium, and many industries, more than I can count more than 20 to 25 industries are partaking in the consortium activity, and this launch also will be done before the end of this year. And if you look at the ISRO contribution towards the Make in India program, especially with respect to the substitution of the various import items and indigenization efforts, you can see over the period of many years it has been increasing, and the transfer of technology has been more than 350 and also to around 235 industries. It is growing, every day it is growing, every phase, every center it is now being more and more thrust is given to outsourcing of technology with respect to production. And we are going to more and more focus onto the vision document, what I mentioned earlier, with respect to the long-term vision of the ISRO. And the promoting research in academia also is one part of it. We have various ways of doing it. One is the research in a funded manner in various institutes all over India, which is called RESPOND. And also we have the space technology cells in the IITs and the major institutes. And also we have various MOUs with respect to the academia, with respect to development of small systems to subsystems. Now we are requesting them to take more and more R&D activities which ISRO is taking as the forefront. We would like to take more and more activity from the industry as well as from the academia. This also is being encouraged and enabled. Of course, the R&D labs and academia are the same thing, but with respect to the human space development, we are having the major activities on bioastronautics, microgravity experiments, space agriculture, space medicines, and crystal growth experiments. And we are having excellent response has been there for all these activities, and we are going to engage with various institutes and academia on all these aspects, all these various disciplines. Getting into our MOU or in other basis, we are going to engage with all these institutes and enable that. We are going to have this very soon, so that before we get into the phase of the space station, we will be ready with all the solutions possible in all these disciplines. And of course, we have the various collaborations and the possible in the future with respect to the space missions. Especially one of them, the environmental control and life support system is one of the key, most important element with respect to the human mission, the human habitat, where the crew is going to be sitting inside a room like this. Of course, very cramped, hardly space to sit or stand. But the regenerative ECA vessels will provide us a long-term benefit with respect to the international this Bharatiya Space Station, which is already being already implemented and available technology. But we are looking at it the more innovative way and more optimized way, so that lower mass but optimum performance kind of technology we are trying to look at. And also development of the flight suit, also the EVA, the extra vehicle activity suit also we are starting the design. The crew training activity also is going on, but we want to take it to the next level of the activity. And the orbital module subsystems, in various subsystems also, we want to, by the time we get into the next phase of the crew module and the human missions coming into the line beyond 2028, we would like to have the industry has a major role to play in this and giving more and more systems into this, so that when we come to the Bharatiya Antariksha Space Station, we will have very good partnership and engagement from the industry and academia. And of course, all these things are part of the same. The future, of course, it's a vast scope available there. The lunar missions, the deep space missions, the Mars missions, sample return missions, remote Earth destinations like the generating of analogs and various other things, even in the deep water as well as Antarctica kind of opportunities, near Earth space, low Earth orbit, interplanetary transportation, all are the thing. All the subtitles I am not reading because all of them are, each one of them are a vision and going to be very soon converted into a mission definition, mission document for ISRO. And that is kind of the sustaining the human presence in space is something which we are going to have a permanent space station there. And also with respect to the various discussions, including the strategic sector, there is more and more opportunity to have through this scope to enable the strategic sector also. And I am sure in an integrated manner in the years to come, we will be able to have our own ways of managing the entire things as well as providing all the services possible to all the sectors. So thank you very much for that patient listening to the presentation, because I wanted to give a brief, because instead of giving a general speech, I thought I would give a presentation which will be more useful and impact will be better. Thank you very much. I also have to give a small request. I have to fly to catch in the evening, maybe around 8:15, so I have to leave early. So with your permission of the seniors and the association, I would like to leave a bit early with your permission. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for the wonderful insight. We would request you to be here so that Dr. Subbarao can give you a memento from SIA-INDIA, and then you will take your visa. Thank you so much, sir. We will continue with our discussions for the evening. Now I will call Mr. Garvey Mclntosh to continue with the session.
While they get into my charts, I just wanted to say hello to everybody, and my name is Garvey Mclntosh, and I'm from Axiom Space. We have three main lines of business at Axiom Space. First of all, we're building a commercial space station that I'll talk about later when I have my charts up. Okay, so first line of business we have is we're building a commercial space station. This is the space station that we're planning to have the first commercial space station up in space, and it will be the successor to the International Space Station. Our space station is a little bit unique. I know there are other commercial providers out there that are building space stations, including, as you just heard, from India, and I'm really excited about India's overall plans for the exploration of space, including building a space station and their aggressive plans for human spaceflight, which I think are great. I think that adds to the overall community of spacefaring nations across the globe, which is going to be great. As far as our space station that we're building, it has kind of three phases. We want to expand access to LEO via private astronaut missions, which I'll talk about a little bit later. We've had 3 private astronaut missions to date, and we're in the process of planning for our 4th private astronaut mission. We want to build an Axiom station while connected to the ISS. Our space station is a little bit unique. Our first few modules for the for our space station will actually connect to the International Space Station first. And then we'll be conducting business kind of in cooperation with the ISS, the International Space Station. And then as you may have seen just a few days ago, SpaceX got the contract to deorbit the space station, and then we'll go out and be our own free flyer. So I think that's a unique work we have with NASA in terms of collaboration on our space station. And then, like I said, we would detach and operate as a free flyer space station after we connect to the United States Station, and we're doing business for a few years. So I think it's really exciting for us to be in the process of building our space station. Our first module is built in Italy, so thank you very much to all my Italian friends and built by Sohnlein. And so that's going to be delivered to Axiom in Houston pretty soon, and then we'll get it up to space to the ISS and connect to the International Space Station around the 2026 timeframe. Kind of what we've been doing right now is our private astronaut missions. We've been really successful, we think, in terms of that. We've learned for every mission that we've done. Our first mission was in 2022. We have a unique relationship with NASA in terms of we have one of the former NASA astronaut as the commander, kind of the leader of the mission. We have Michael Lopez Alegria, who's originally from Spain and flew as a NASA astronaut numerous times. He was the commander for the first mission that happened in 2022. On that mission, we had an Israeli private citizen, we had a Canadian private citizen, and we had an American private citizen. So that was really exciting for us. That was our first one. And we built upon that to have what we call AX2, Axiom Mission 2. In our Axiom Mission 2, we had John Schaffer, who was a private citizen, who flew on the second mission. And then we had two Saudi astronauts who were paid by the government, including Ranar Barnawi, who was the first Arab woman to fly in space. So this was really exciting. I had a chance to meet her recently in Washington, D.C. And when she walks in the street in Saudi Arabia, women actually just want to get her autograph and sometimes cry. I mean, you can imagine the impact she's had in Saudi Arabia being the first Arab woman in space, and just such a really nice person. Our third mission that happened earlier this year was again commanded by Michael Lopez Alegria. And we had obviously a Swedish astronaut, and the first Turkish astronaut in space, and obviously our friend from Italy again, our strong partnership with Italy. So I'm really happy to see all the smiling Italian faces, or people from Italy, Italian faces, or people from Italy here. Walter Valente flew and was really a really integral, important part of that mission. He was actually a pilot for that mission. And as you can see from the charts, they go up for about 2 weeks, and we try to really involve the ecosystem from that country in terms of doing cutting-edge research, pharmaceutical research that helps benefit the country. So we're finalizing plans for our fourth mission. Poland has already signed on to that. We're looking to Hungary to also be a part of that mission, and we're in discussions with India to have Indian astronaut be a part of our mission for our AX4 mission. I think this will really provide an opportunity for India to do a lot of training and get ready for the aggressive plans you see that you have for human spaceflight. So this will be really exciting for Axiom and also India at the same time. So we hope we can finalize that and really get forward to the mission. Our mission is AX4 is planned for sometime early next year. And so I hope you guys will watch, and maybe some of you can come join us at Kennedy Space Center in Florida. They obviously fly on SpaceX Crew Dragon, and so we'll fly from Cape Canaveral, Florida. So these have been really successful missions for Axiom, and something that I just came over to Axiom this year in January. I was at NASA for 21 years in the International Relations Office, and one of the things that really excited me about working for NASA Axiom is an opportunity to help make space accessible for all. And as you can see, we have countries like Turkey and Sweden and Italy and Saudi Arabia flying astronauts to space, and we're going to build upon that in our future missions as well. So I'm really excited about letting everybody be an integral part of space and playing a big part of that and reaping the benefits from space. And I think one of the things that we do at Axiom is do that. So as I mentioned before, when they go on that mission, they do microgravity research, you might have seen advanced manufacturing, and we're building an orbital data center for our space station that will also serve as a backup for many types of data, but also the primary for any types of data up on the international, on our space station, Axiom space station as well. And as you see, we did the first AX1, we did 30 outreach events and 25 research payloads that went up. The second, we did STEM activities for 20, and then in launchers, we did 20 out research and 54 research activities up on the International Space Station. So as I said before, reiterate, we really try to make it the whole country getting involved and really try to involve many different entities. The last part of our three-part main missions at NASA, obviously, Axiom, I'm still saying NASA, Axiom is obviously our International Space Station, our commercial astronaut mission I'm talking, and we also have the contract with NASA to build the spacesuits for the Artemis program. So when on the Artemis 3 mission, when astronauts land on the moon, they will be wearing Axiom spacesuits. And so it's something we're really excited about as well, to see the Axiom spacesuits on the lunar surface for all kinds of astronauts that will be walking on the lunar surface. So those are the three main parts of Axiom. I wanted to kind of introduce that and just really say I'm happy to be here. When I was at NASA, I negotiated one of the instruments for the Chandrayaan-1 mission, the mini-SAR, Mini Synthetic Aperture Radar. I was the lead for the negotiation of that. So I've seen India's space activities grow from primarily focused on Earth science to doing a space science mission. And now, as you just heard, India has aggressive plans to embark on human spaceflight plans. And now that I'm at Axiom, I'm really looking forward to working with India to help you realize your goal and working together to realize, to make the most of space and really contribute to the benefit of all mankind. Thanks for the opportunity today, and that's my presentation.
Thanks for the wonderful presentation. Now we would like to have Mr. Guillermo, co-founder, Human to Venus, to be. You want to? Okay, he wants to. Sure. Mr. Jatan Mehta, space journalist, please, we'll have you first. Thank you. The floor is yours.
Hello everyone, it's nice to be here. Thanks to SIA for having me here, and it's also nice to see many friends in the audience, both old and new. So to introduce myself a little bit, I'm Jatan Mehta and I'm a space writer. And today I'm going to be talking about from Chandrayaan 3 to an Indian on the moon. Now that's quite a lot packed in there in that single word 2. With Chandrayaan 3, we achieved an autonomous robotic landing on the moon, and that was sort of our Sputnik moment for the moon for India. And now, as Mr. Mohan said in his presentation, and as India has previously announced, that we intend to send an Indian to the moon, right? But there's so much going on in between that. I won't bother you with the details. In fact, I would very much like you to read that on my blog. But I would like to highlight 3 themes that I think are going to be relevant and most important when ISRO takes on increasingly complex Chandrayaan missions leading up to sending a human to the moon. Next slide, please. Oh, it's on me. Thank you. Okay, so background on where I'm coming from. So I write the world's only lunar exploration dedicated newsletter. It's called Moon Monday. I also write an Indian Space Monthly, and I've been globally published. So the context here is that I try to see exploration from a global lens, and so I think it would be useful to keep that in mind. Okay, so the first facet that I think is a key highlight of India's increasingly complex Chandrayaan mission undertaking is visible with Chandrayaan 4, specifically with the 2 elements on the top left. You see 2 rockets there, and that's a bit unusual. Now, if you look at any other lunar sample return missions, be it Luna or the recent Chang'e 6 just returned the first far side lunar samples ever, and it's fascinating. And now India wants to also have samples from the moon. But the interesting thing here is, unlike the other missions, you see 2 launch vehicles. And I think that's good because it indicates a very different kind of frugal mindset, that even with the existing infrastructure that we do have, we are able to plan a complex mission that was otherwise deemed impossible or not feasible by other missions which had better launch vehicles available at their disposal. So now, why is that relevant? Because it means you can do more with less, right? And that matters because India does not have that kind of budget that, let's say, the US or China does. But it still shows that if you really do have the will, there's a way. So I think if that mission architecture is any indicator to go by, you can expect to see more of this in future missions. The next theme is collaboration. This is something that's actually not covered a lot in the media, or at least not as much as I would like to see, for sure. But I think it's important to note that Chandrayaan missions have not just been indigenous, in the sense that, yes, we have indigenous capability to explore the moon, to orbit the moon, to land on the moon, but there's also the fact that we have been helping other nations explore the moon, just as they have helped us explore the moon. So one example, most recently, was the SLIM lunar lander. JAXA pulled off an incredible precision landing on the moon. But part of what enabled that was the India's Chandrayaan 2 orbiter, whose maps, whose high-resolution orbital data sets, which are the highest that we have at the moon, it was one of the key elements that enabled JAXA to do the precision landing. I think that's an incredible story of collaboration. Similarly, and the next mission that India will undertake to the moon is likely going to be LUPEX, which is a collaboration with JAXA, and its goal is to find and hunt and analyze and characterize water ice on the moon. And I think that's incredible because it's one-of-a-kind mission, and it will very much complement NASA's Viper rover mission going later this decade as well. And it's a precursor mission before you can even imagine sending an astronaut to the moon's South Pole, because, if we don't know the nature of water ice, what are we going to explore? So that's an interesting mission, and it's another sign of tight, symmetric collaboration. The other example is the LRO orbiter in the center of the presentation. So how many of you know, I'm just wondering, and you can let me know later as well, in the Artemis planning by NASA, they have 13 candidate landing regions which they have chosen for now, one of which will be selected for the crewed Artemis landing mission, Artemis 3. And so they are going through a process where scientists are filtering out which of these 13 regions are the best. And so India's Chandrayaan 2 orbiter, that's one of the critical data sets that's enabling that process. Because as we speak right now, ISRO scientists and NASA scientists are collaborating on trying to figure out, which landing regions are the best, where can we potentially find more water ice, and so on. And of course, India is also in talk with ESA to increase their collaboration for the moon, including building a NAVCOM constellation of some sort. So collaboration is the second point that I wanted to highlight. First was a better, positive, frugal mindset. Second is collaboration. And then third is a roadmap that makes increasing number and increasing sense. So what you see here, I don't want you to focus on the entirety of the roadmap. I just want you to focus on 2 things. On the bottom left, you see an arc in green color. If you're not able to read, I'll just tell you what it's about. It's about the increasingly complex robotic Chandrayaan missions that ISRO will undertake, 2 of which I just mentioned. So there was the Chandrayaan 4 sample return, and there was the ISRO JAXA LUPEX rover, and then we have a couple of more going on. And then if you focus on the middle arc, it's about the human spaceflight mission, which Mr. Mohan thankfully explained very well for me in advance. So that's the middle arc. Now what's more interesting is that both of these arcs are going to converge when you start sending a human to the moon, right? So India's human spaceflight program, one of the biggest verticals that is coming about, and India's Chandrayaan program, which is a big vertical, not just for its lunar exploration, but for its planetary prowess. you have both of these arcs sort of converging when you start sending a human to the moon, and it's going to be taking place in the context of collaboration with many countries. So I think that's incredibly exciting. And if I was able to deliver these three things well, and if you're intrigued to know many, many more details about any of these things, I would very much, like for you to subscribe to my newsletter. It's called Moon Monday, and it basically covers all global lunar exploration updates, including Chandrayaan, but so much more as well. And I would like you to check it out, and that's it for my time.
Thank you, Jatan, for all the space updates. That was quite interesting. Now we'll have Mr. Guillermo next, coming up. Can we have the slides, please?
Yeah, we were doing this geographically. We figured we'd start with Garvey and Leo, Jatan and the moon, and then now I'm going to be the literal and figurative outlier on the stage right now. So let's see how this goes. So thank you and good afternoon. In 1961, the moon found its champion in the form of President John Kennedy, who stood before his legislature and set out a bold vision and an ambitious goal. At the dawn of the 21st century, Mars found its champion in the form of SpaceX founder Elon Musk, who's repeatedly laid out his long-term plans for having humans living and working on the Martian surface. Now in 2024, Venus is looking for its champion. And we believe that India is well positioned to take on that role if it is willing to commit itself to boldly becoming one of the most prominent spacefaring nations in human history. My name is Guillermo, and I'm here representing the Humans to Venus Foundation, which is an international nonprofit organization that promotes Venus-focused science and education programs. We also curate a global community of about 400 professionals who share a common vision of Venus as a potential destination for humanity as a multi-planet species. We've set out an aspirational goal, long-term vision of having 1,000 people living and working in the Venusian atmosphere by the year 2050, which is clearly a variation on Elon's long-term vision for SpaceX and for Mars. Unfortunately, I don't have time today to go into a detailed discussion that would answer all of your questions, but I encourage you to visit our website and to read the paper that I submitted for this Congress, which is available on the event website. Also, I think we're going to have a few minutes for Q&A, and I'll stick around the rest of the evening for anyone who wants to talk directly. But at a very high level, Venus is potentially a viable destination for humanity because it is the closest planetary neighbor that offers us similar gravity to Earth's. And this is important from a long-term, multi-generational perspective, because right now we do not know if Homo sapiens can reproduce in less than 1 g of gravity. We hope that we can, but the fact remains that we just don't know if it's possible. So it would be prudent to have an alternative with close to 1 g of gravity, like Venus. Of course, we're not talking about landing on the surface of Venus because the pressure and the temperature make it completely inhospitable to human life. However, at 50 kilometers above the surface, scientists believe that we may just find the most Earth-like environment in the solar system, with 1 g of gravity, 1 atmosphere of pressure, and relatively steady temperatures of about 50 degrees centigrade, which is certainly hot, as I've experienced here in India this week, but it is not immediately fatal. Also, Venus is much closer to Earth than Mars, and its orbit is much better aligned with Earth's. So the transit is safer and cheaper, with more available launch windows. So we're really talking about creating one or several stations or habitats floating in the Venusian atmosphere, very much like NASA already envisioned with its high-altitude Venus operations concept. Yes, we would still have to overcome the CO2 atmosphere and the sulfuric acid clouds, But we already have technologies to overcome both of those here on Earth today. It's really just a matter of scaling them and transitioning them over to Venus. Not to trivialize that, but those are the two things that we really need to do. So, as for how we could get there, obviously, as we've seen already from presentations just a few minutes ago, the world has been focused on Moon, Mars, and beyond paradigm for the better part of 2 decades. And for our friends at Axiom, as we've already discussed, it's more like Leo, Moon, Mars, and beyond. And all of this is incredibly valuable to helping push humanity into the cosmos. But it is not necessarily the best path forward for Venus, because the technologies and capabilities that we will need to succeed there are not going to be developed or tested during our efforts in Leo, the Moon, or Mars. For this reason, we believe that humanity could reach out to Venus independently of the Leo, Moon, Mars paradigm in a path we call Venus Direct. However, since we also believe that humanity deserves to have many options for expansion beyond Earth, and since we do not want to jeopardize any of the ongoing momentum that is surging us ahead from Leo to the Moon and then on to Mars, we advocate pushing forward with Venus Direct approach simultaneously with the Leo, Moon, Mars, and beyond programs in a paradigm we call Venus in Parallel. In order to help prepare strategic partners for this Venus Direct path, our global community is currently putting together a draft Venus roadmap, which we will be unveiling at the International Astronautical Congress in Milan in October. Once that is public, we invite the entire world to contribute to the effort and expand it over the coming years. The roadmap will be in the form of a website, very much like a wiki kind of platform. So the question remains, why do we believe that India is well positioned to take on a leadership role for humanity's expansion to Venus? Well, most of this is going to sound very basic for this audience here, but India is one of the most populous, if not the most populous, countries in the world. If humanity is going to become a multi-planet species, shouldn't our off-world communities reflect the demographics of our homeworld? Also, this kind of ambitious vision will require long-term financial commitment, and India has one of the largest and most stable economies in the world. Given the highly technical nature of pushing humanity well beyond anything we've ever done before, India's position as a world leader in technology and innovation is one of its greatest strengths. And when we say that we believe that India can be a leader, we do so because we know that a single country cannot do this alone, and it will have to create a complex web of strategic partnerships. Again, India's role in global geopolitics and its vibrant economy allow it to form multinational consortia as well as public-private partnerships. Finally, I don't have to remind this audience here of India's long track record of proven success as one of the world leaders in space. But it's also a matter of ideal timing. The other 3 major space superpowers are currently focused leading programs to the Moon, and then they have their eyes set on Mars. Yes, India can certainly continue to support those efforts, but it will forever be a follower to those 3 leaders. If India wants to become a leading spacefaring nation in its own right, then there's a relatively narrow window of opportunity to bypass the United States, China, and Russia by announcing its own plans to lead humanity to Venus. As with Kennedy's vision for the Moon and Musk's vision for Mars, this kind of ambitious long-term plan could help galvanize both Israel and India, while also providing a unifying strategic vision for the emerging human spaceflight program that we heard about just a few minutes ago from Mr. Mohan. As an added bonus, declaring the goal to send humans to Venus would also give even more significance and urgency to the already announced Shukrayan robotic science mission to Venus. Okay, look, let me be honest here at the end of this. This week has been my first trip to India. So I don't want to presume to know more about India than any one of you here in the room. However, I have spent the last 4 years talking with Venus experts around the world. So I'm hoping that I know at least a little bit more about Venus than at least some of you here. So one thing I can tell you is that I know that India is an ideal partner and an ideal fit for Venus. But it's up to you to decide if Venus is an ideal fit for India. And only you can decide if Venus will soon have a champion as historically transformative as Kennedy or Musk. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would just like to take a few moments. The India Space Congress is not just a gathering, it is a celebration of innovation, collaboration, and the relentless pursuit of excellence in the area of space. It is my great honor to call for the winner of Call of Papers, which is Mr. Guillermo. We would like to facilitate you for your paper submission, which is Crewed Missions to Venus, a Frontier of Quiet Cooperation. So we would like to call you, and you are the winner, so we would like Mr. Prakash to facilitate you with a certification. Thank you. Thank you so much. And now I would like to proceed with Mr. Ratan Srivastava to carry on with his presentation, please.
Thank you. I'm here at the request of Panellists, and I know I'm very conscious I'm the last speaker, but I had the privilege of being here and speaking in front of a lot of respected seniors, Dr. Subbarao, Dr. Hegre, Dr. Silva, people that I have drawn to respect over my years in the industry. I'll just talk from the perspective, and I don't have a presentation because I'm the last guy. So I'll just talk to you from the perspective of how industry has transitioned into ISRO. It was the year 2017 when I was asked by the then Secretary General of FICCI, Dr. Didar Singh, and the President of FICCI, Mr. Pankaj Patel, to leave a very nice, well-paying job and join FICCI as an advisor and founding member for FICCI Space Division. The mandate was absolutely clear from the Prime Minister's office. That was, you have to use your experience in the industry to help transition the Indian industry from being vendors to partners, so that ISRO can probably be freed up to do better things, as well as induction of private capital along with the public money into the Indian space missions. It was easily said than done. It was, I would say it was difficult. But we had support from the Department of Space, support from the then Secretary Department of Space, Mr. Kiran Kumar, who was extremely supportive of this initiative. We started off with bringing in the major partners at that point of time, both in the public and the private sector, the HALs of the world, BELs, Valente, and started working on this transition. We found that in our course of work, we found back in 2017 rather, that PSLV, the launch vehicle that Mr. Mohan talked about some time back, was almost being manufactured 90% in the private sector. but the private sector was doing it in silos. There was no, I would say, jointness, and there was no integration of effort. And one of the things that we found that we could easily do was move this integration into AIT. And with the support of ISRO at that point of time, and the facilities that ISRO had were opened up with some prodding from the higher officers, the AIT began, and then the consolidation began. The partners, the vendors of ISRO started moving in the direction of integrating the whole space launch vehicle. That is the beginning of the journey of the private sector in the Indian space industry. We moved on to find that there was such a methodical, I would say, incubation of the industry done by ISRO at that point of time. For example, if the LPSC, the Liquid Propulsion Space Center, was going to make, let's say, an experimental titanium tank, it would involve ab initio the vendor who was selected to do this job. So that that vendor became a part of the program. And when the vendor became a part of the program, he grew with the program. When the program grew, the launch vehicle grew, he grew. But again, I said, this was again in silos. The integration was not there. But that integration happened because all the labs of ISRO, all the centers of ISRO, whether it was the UNO Satellite Center, whether it was LPSC, VSSC, they all worked together with us to make this possible. At this point of time, I must put on record the thanks that we got, the thanks that we must give to Mr. Kiran Kumar, Dr. Shevan, and the present Chair Minister, Mr. Somnath. Mr. Somnath that time was Director of VSSC. He was also looking after LPSC. He was extremely forward-looking at that point of time as well. Imagine opening up their centers to people like us who were not a part of the ISRO ever, but came from the industry, and especially for myself who came from the consulting industry. That is the kind of effort that we got and the support that we got in bringing what we are seeing today, the startup space. I still remember very well Agnikul, the founders of Agnikul, Srinath and Mohan. They were so young, they were in IIT Madras that time, and they wanted to come to the first ever Indian space program that we did in 2018. And they didn't have so much funding at that point of time. And they were, but they were so excited and so clear what they wanted to do, and see where Agnikul has got today. Agnikul has done its first test very successfully, and it probably will be doing the second test also very successfully and have its own first private spaceport. So the excitement, the encouragement that these startups got right from the beginning, the mentoring that they got right from the beginning from the seniors of ISRO who became a part of the incubation which was being done by IIT Chennai. Our colleague from IIT Mumbai is here. He has also worked very hard on this. So we've seen this grow as a systematic process in which all the stakeholders got involved in it. Having said that, we know that space is the final frontier. There are no boundaries in space. So if there are no boundaries in space, India alone cannot work in a silo. And that's what we are seeing here with the discussions that we've had with our partners, that India has been actively collaborating and working with its partners in the space, whether it is Italy, whether it's ESA, whether it's NASA, whether it's Japan. Ever since, the sanctions went off. Till the sanctions were there, we were totally dependent on ourselves, and that was very good because we were able to be self-sufficient in development of the technologies which have gone into the successful launch of the successful launch vehicles that we've had, the SLVs or the LVM-3 today, and the cryogenic engine of Vikas, of course. But now we are in a situation where we can collaborate and work together. This collaboration and working together as one space community is the future of not only the Indian space industry, but the space industry. We cannot talk about international collaboration without talking about the collaboration that we are getting in the Indian space startup, not in terms of the capital, but also intellectual capital. This is again helping us, and the FDI norms which have been relaxed, especially in satellite segment, are really helpful, because that is where we will get some induction of capital and technology, which will be mutually beneficial for not only us, but for the country which is investing in us. International collaboration is also the way forward in the human spaceflight, as we just spoke about, and my colleagues also spoke about it. Human spaceflight would have been possible without the collaboration and cooperation that we are having with our partners, including with the United States. With the United States, when we talk about the human spaceflight, we cannot talk about only the manned flight, but also the work that we are doing in observation and surveillance, especially in climate change, where we are going to have the satellite NISAR along with NASA. When it flies, it is going to be the best system possible to study climate change, especially the glacial melting and the global warming. So this is all coming together from a very close space where we were under sanctions, we had to do everything ourselves, to where we can collaborate and move forward. And I'm talking, just my thoughts. It's absolutely extempore, so please pardon me if there is some break in thoughts. There is, of course, apart from the reforms that we have had, and the most important reform that we have had, apart from the FDI, has been the setting of in-space. Setting of in-space is extremely crucial for not only the incubation of new technologies, but also the transfer of technology from the ISRO to the private industry. And of course, the space policy that we have had in 2023. But I would say this is all still a work in progress. There is much more to be done. There is a huge role to be played by organizations such as SIA-INDIA. For example, communication. Communication is the backbone of India's economic progress. And if we do not have broadband or the spectrum available to us, which is affordable, so that the industry can take that broadband spectrum and run with it to take this to the farthest corners for the digital connectivity that we need to have. If we don't have digital connectivity, we don't have digital transformation. If we don't have digital, and of course we know that there is a direct correlation between digital connectivity, digital transformation, and GDP growth of the country. Studies have shown that a 10% increase in digital connectivity leads to about 0.75% increase in the GDP of the country. And with the fastest growing GDP of the country, we need to run with this spectrum. And this is all probably I had to say. I have to finish because I know all of us have to go. And I'm sorry for being a little just disjointed in my thoughts. And thank you everybody for giving this opportunity.
Thank you so much, sir, for the wonderful insights. Now, I would like to call Dr. A.K. Anil Kumar, who is the Associate Director, ISRO, and President ASI. And ladies and gentlemen, can we have a round of applause, please, since he has not been in the past. So, please.
Good evening to all. First of all, let me thank the organizers of Indian Space Congress and especially SIA-INDIA for giving me the opportunity. This is regarding another international conference. It's called a Global Conference on Space Exploration. As you know that it is a global conference annually. The International Astronautical Federation (IAF) organizes global conferences. Apart from the IAC, that is International Astronautical Congress, which is a mammoth conference of space technologies and technology and other activities of space-related activities. So this annual conference on BLEX, this conference is ISRO and astronautical. After this panel, very August panels, talks regarding the space exploration, Gaganyaan missions and human space missions and other space exploration missions, you know the importance of space exploration. What you are seeing is the momentous occasion, what all happened on the day of Chandrayaan-3 landing. So all over the world, people were witnessing this landing, and all Indians actually got overwhelmed with the success of the soft landing in the first time in the South Pole of Moon. With this, if you see, if I talk about IIF has footprint in 77 countries. This is the biggest international professional body, comprising of space, industries, academies, national agencies, private space agencies, and others. And we have about 511 members as of now. And when we conduct IAC, there are about this time, IAC will be in Milan, Italy. And as I understand, more than 8,000 registrations are already over, expecting 10,000 people attending there. And also more than 5,000 contributory purpose already came. Now it is, you can see that we have footprint in almost across the globe, and we have 513 members. As of now, we have 513 members, including members from India. You can see the 84 universities are part of this, and 63 space agencies are part of this. Like that, it is the biggest professional body internationally. And IIF Bureau, as you know, Guillermo is the president and Christian is the secretary, and I am one of the vice president for IIF. Okay, in brief, I have given what are IIF activities. You can just go through that. And ISR is a part of IIF for the many years. And from India now in space also given the membership. And also many industries of India, they are having the membership in IIF. Now this global conference, if you see that previous years, there was this global conference, usually they do it in a different themes, and climate changes, Earth observations, space exploration, like that, different themes will be different. So next time we have taken less, only this time, every year it was there, but in 2024, the global conference was postponed because it was supposed to be in Israel, Tel Aviv. Due to the political situations, it was cancelled. And India has conducted, actually we have done IAC in 2007, and also we have done many, in 2021 we have done IAA Global Conference on Human Space Symposium. Now, as you know that already you know that ISRO and the Department of Space, we have many plans, many launches, and many space exploration missions. Until by 2045, we will be putting a man on moon and bringing him back safely. And 2035, Bharatiya Antariksha Station will be realized. So these are all talked. This panel has talked many of these things. Venus missions, asteroid missions, many missions are planned. So all these things we will be discussing in the GLEX conference. And as of now, GLEX conference is planned in the International Convention Expo Center, SOGOB, and it's a very big international convention center. We are already contracted with them for doing this in May 7 to 9, 2025. Okay, there are technical program committee, IPC is already formed, International Program Committee is formed. Various topics will be discussed in this, related to space exploration, including legal and policy issues, international cooperation, and Mars, lunar, Moon and Mars missions, explorations, asteroid explorations, sustainable space environment, everything will be discussed here. And the timeline says June we will be releasing call for abstracts, and by January 2025 registration will be open, and 2025 7 to 9 GLEX 2025 will be happening in New Delhi. And the registration fees, it is comparatively little less than what our international conferences are there. And for Indian students and Indian professional, young professionals, we have special tariff. You can see that Indian students can come with €60, they can attend it. And also young professionals about €250 compared to other tariff for international delegates. And this is a perfect platform for promote Indian industries. Actually, will be concentrating on Make in India program, and there will be lot of support for the Indian startups. And these opportunities, I request all industry people to grab that. Not only I have an earnest request to industries, they can sponsor young professionals and Indian students. Okay, each industry they sponsor 1 or 2 or 5, whatever they feel. That will be very good for India also to support youngsters. So I request all of them. This is we can brainstorm on space exploration there. 3 days conference. We can bring out innovative ideas, and there will be cultural program and a gala dinner. We can participate in that, and yeah. So please support. Please be a part of this Lux 2025. Thank you.
So just a couple of moments, if you can come back on the stage. Thank you everyone, to our panelists and everyone who's been there, our president, for a wonderful session on future of humanity in space. We would like to give you a small token from SIA-INDIA, Mementos. Please can we have Adi Prakash to present the mementos, and can we also have a round of applause for the closing plenary session, please. Can I please also request for a group photo for the last session, please? Just one group photo. Group photo? Just one group photo.
Hello everyone, it's a fantastic 3 days, and I think it's a great finale. And I think this room is still warmed up with the presence of the great people. And we have seen these last 3 days the unprecedented movements, the galaxies of the people, dignitaries, the experts who are talking about the various sessions. I'm very thankful to our 215 speakers, 35 sessions, about 820 delegates, and this time we have 50% presence in the speaker of the movement. Let's give a big round of applause. So that's the way it is in the space congresses. And I think some of you who are here or catching a flight back to your towns or country, I wish you a safe journey back home, and please do remember us. And we're definitely going to meet us again next year in India Space Congress 2025. As the promise made, that venue will be larger than this, and I think that you will be looking at something more exciting movement on India Space Congress 2025. Of course, we are going to be there in Milan. All these people, will see you there. Thank you very much once again, and have a wonderful day. Thank you very much. Let's have a quick photograph. I'd like to, while group photo is taking, I would like to invite my SIA-INDIA team who has worked tirelessly around the globe, around the time. Please come on stage. All of them, you can see the people who are working behind.
Bag.